Basically, AIDS was actually created by the Anunnaki and the Elohims to punish any human who's being a parasite or basically just going against nature, causing harm to other people and causing harm to nature. So when the AIDS virus got to Fort Detrick, Maryland, and the Caucasians got a hold of it in the early 70s, they altered the microscopic capsule of the AIDS virus to be attracted to the African genome only, or mostly. I say about 85 to 90% of the African genome.
So that give us a lot of more understanding. And also, with that being said, it shows how the European did play a part in AIDS. And it also shows that, yeah, you know, a lot of people thought, just like I did, AIDS existed just now. So we can say that this type virus existed in some form in the past. You know, the gates are open on that one. I'm leaning more to what my brother just said. I want him to build on the word nigga. We gonna get back on the N-word.
Yeah, basically, like I was saying before, the whole N-word theology, you know, it just, to sum it up in a broad perspective, everything that this government and the media has told us is bad, a lie, and something we should stay away from, we found out is actually for our benefit. And it's the same way when you look at this N-word, how it was perceived and how it was said among other African people in Ethiopia and Egypt, even Central Africa, okay?
Now, when we talk about this N-word, there's a lot of knowledge that we got on the word, and I know you got a lot of knowledge on the word just like I do. But what we want to get the people to understand about the word, to give us a better understanding, what I want you to do right now is just go off the top of the head and give us a bunch of benefits of using the N-word.
The N-word is basically an amplifier of Kundalini energy, okay? Because the original language by our Kemetic ancestors that had no vowels was basically the first language. When you see witches and sorcerers and spiritual gurus casting spells, they're not speaking in English. They're not speaking in Spanish. They're not speaking in French. They're not speaking in any basic language across the planet. It's either Latin, Medu Neter, or the first language with no vowels. That is how you're able to tap into certain frequencies and open portals so you can alter reality how you want to. I'm going to delve into that topic in further lectures, but when you look at this N-word in particular, I'm going to say it again. It meant serpent god. It meant serpent king. Nagas, Nagini, Nagas. You have a city called Nagasaki in Japan, which was hit with a nuclear weapon to take people off of that, to take people, they don't want any single city, any single foundation, any single organization that has anything tied to serpent wisdom or the serpent king status on this planet. This is very, very deep stuff and deep energy that we are talking about right now. Because when you look at the N-word, if we were to keep using this and using this and using this over and over again, I'm gonna tell you what would happen. The sun would keep growing, our Stargate, the sun in the sky would keep growing and growing and growing, and the planet would keep getting hotter and hotter and hotter, and a lot of the Caucasoids would not be able to survive on this planet. So this is why they had to flip the frequency of the name nigga into something that is completely bad and damn near demonic, because the more we say that word, the more we open up portals and the more our Stargate grows. This is also why we're seeing chemtrails being sprayed across the planet to keep the planet cooler.
Now, with everything you just said, my brother, I agree with some of it and I disagree with some of it, because me personally don't see how the word can be that powerful when you say that they went through this much trouble to stop the N-word from being used because it's a magical word. There's also a flip side to the N-word. There's also a side of the N-word that we use as a demoralizing way, you know, in the hood and stuff like that. There's also a part of the N-word that does have a negative aspect to us in a way. So like you said, they tainted it.
Yeah.
You know, and also the N-word is a magical word, according to you, that can help us and also do so much in the cosmos concerning with the Stargates. That's deep right there, and it's something to look into. And also, when we talk about the N-word, we got to keep in mind that if it was so powerful as you say, and I'm not disagreeing or agreeing with this one, I'm just throwing this out there. Okay. that why don't we want other people to use it? That'll give us some help then. If it was so powerful, then if other people use it too, then hey, that's more people saying it. So why would we get mad? Everybody, let's say it then. You know what I mean?
And see, I'm glad you touched on that, because a lot of people are under the same influence and are completely brainwashed by American society and the American education system. So the average black person in America is looking at the word as this was first given to us by our European conquerors. And, you know, they said this to belittle us for 400 years. And we're going to come out of slavery and we're going to turn it into something that we can only use. And it means something to only our benefit. And no, that is the completely wrong mindset to have. Okay, we have to delve into the history of when civilization first started on this planet and what the word was being used for then. If we come back with that mindset and use the word, how our ancient ancestors used it, we can tap back into that energy once again. But it's going to take a collective effort, because like my brother just said, we get mad at other races when they use it. And that, to be honest with you, if they're using it in a friendly manner, it would be dumb for you to get mad at it, because like I said before, there was a city in Asia, in Japan, called Nagasaki. The Asians called the Moorish Africans Nagas, Nagini. What was the serpent called in the Harry Potter movie? What was Voldemort's serpent called? Nagini. It's all over the world. See, it's crazy because everybody knows who we are. You see what I'm saying? They still worship melanated people in Europe, whose continent came after an Ethiopian goddess Europa. The Pope and the Black Pope get before the Black Madonna and do their ritual and do their praises. But when it comes to us in America, we have completely forgotten who we are as a people and what our mission is supposed to be on this planet. At this point, whatever our government tells us to stay away from, especially if they're making it their duty to keep driving it in our heads to stay away from it, we actually need to make it our duty to do the opposite and to do further research on the subject, just to make sure that what they're saying is actually legit. Because when you look at the history of the N-word, for about almost 300,000 years, there was melanated civilization on this planet. And you're telling me just because the Caucasoids stole power for 400 plus years and flipped the word upside down, that we can't flip it back up again? Like the great teacher Phil Valentine stated, if we were looking at a 24-hour clock, black people's fall from grace would only be at a 1 minute mark, a 60-second mark on a 24-hour clock. Okay, we'd be at 60 seconds to 2 minutes. And that's really deep, people, when you think about it, because we are comparing what happened in a 400 to 1,000 year span and just completely throwing away what we did on this planet, and what languages we spoke on this planet for damn near 300,000 years.
And it's deep that you say that, because that'll shed more light on why they would want to get rid of it. Because if they can taint these words that resonate, that go back into our history hundreds and thousands of years, like you said, the reign of the European is only a second or a minute on a 24-hour clock. And in that time frame, he got us to do away with words that we were using for centuries, for eons. So that is something to think about. Is deep. This is a good video because the N-word is very controversial. I was just on the brother Sonetta page in the comment section, and I put a comment about a video he had where an Asian woman he confronted on the street, and they asked her, about the N-word, and she says she don't see nothing wrong with it. But eventually, to make a long story short, in Sonetta's video, they pointed to themselves and they asked the Asian woman, "What are we?" And she said, "I don't know." And they said, "Are we niggas?" And she said, "Yeah." And they got real mad, but the way they asked her the question, they kind of set her up. And Sonetta went real hard on the Asian woman. She said she didn't see nothing wrong with it because she hear it in hip hop all the time and she think it's cool. And that's the way we portray it. So, I disagreed and I put my comment on a video. If we gonna use it, we can't really get mad if other people use it. That's just where I'm standing on it. We got to keep it real. And I agree with most of what my brother RFG was saying. And I appreciate you for dropping this knowledge bomb, man. So we're going. we're gonna let you close it out, man.
Yeah, so like I was saying before, it's very deep, people. This N-word, when you look at the origins of it, okay, there was people all across the planet using this word to tap into their Kundalini energy. And like I said before, if you look at the Harry Potter movie series, Voldemort's pet, okay, what got his soul in his body was through he had to go through his serpent, which was called Nagini. His serpent was named Nagini. If you look up the history of the Netarus, the Naginis, and the Nagas people, those were the people who came from the Sirius star system and gave humanity their serpent wisdom. You see what I'm saying? So when you look at the N word, even the letter N, it could be viewed as a serpent. Same thing with the S letter. It could be viewed as a serpent. That's why the S is at the front of the snake and the serpent, people. It's really deep when you delve into this, because we could touch on this subject for hours.
Also, when we deal with the letter N, one thing I wanted to point out unique about the letter N is that it represents as above, so below. As you can see that each side forms an angle, a triangle. Yeah. So, you know, from that aspect too, I just wanted to throw that in there.
Yeah, that's very interesting. And even when you look at other cultures and stuff, we cannot get mad, okay, when they use the word how we use it, okay? That's kind of arrogant in my opinion. Now I can see if somebody from a different race was using it in a derogatory manner, that's something different. But we as a people need to collectively come together and pull ourselves together, okay, and start just turning things around. Start going against the grain, start going against the current, okay? And it is, to me, it would be in our best benefit to start learning African languages as soon as possible, okay? Medu Neter, Swahili, Zulu. These languages are very, very, very powerful. And like I said in previous videos, man, when you see the witch or the sorcerer casting a spell on somebody, English is the last language that they're using, because if they do that, the curse would probably backfire on them. You know what I mean? It's really deep. So when you use the N-word amongst each other, just make sure that you know the origin of the word and you know what kind of energy is supposed to resonate with it, okay? This is what I was gonna say originally. One thing I hate to see is these people posting these memes on Facebook and Instagram talking about, I'm not a nigga. I'm a black man. Don't call me a nigga. I'm a black man. Well, guess what? You just cursed yourself, because nigga is not a cursed word according to etymology, and black is a cursed word according to etymology. So that's one thing that we're going to have to deprogram out of our minds and out of our subconscious. You know, me personally, I don't think we'd be able to do that in this generation, but hopefully either in our children's or our grandchildren's or our great-grandchildren's generation, they can somehow hopefully get back to the ancient Kemetic ways, okay, of how our ancestors used language across this planet. So that's really all we have on this subject today, man. Like, subscribe, leave a comment. It's the chosen one, man. Bro Sanchez, we're out.